Hello guys. Now that we have designed a low fidelity wireframe, let's convert it into a high fidelity one. So let's start designing.
First, let's add images. Now here, one of the first things to consider is the format of the image you add. Let me show you by example. There is this website called Icon Finder. Here you can find a lot of icons for free in PNG or SVG format. You can just go to the search bar and type which icon you want. I have searched for the filter icon and I have chosen free icon and no link back. No link back means if you even use it for commercial use, you don't need to link back to the designer's website. So I've opened this icon and this is the PNG format. So what I'm going to do is I will download this PNG of 48 pixel and I've already done that. So let me go back over here and I'll go to the shape tools and I'll select the place image slash video option over here and select this 48 pixel PNG file right over here and open, and then to add the image I'll just go above over here. You just hold and drag. You can see that if I zoom in, it's quite blurry and it loses its quality. So, and what we could do is, the other thing we could do is we could go and select the 512 pixel option and download that. You can see this is of a much better quality, but even this loses its properties on resizing. Or if I go and download the SVG version over here and drag, you can see that this is quite different from the other formats. For one thing, when it gets added, it gets added on a frame and there's a group with the vectors over here. Basically, this means that SVG pictures are vectors. The PNG files which we saw they are raster based, which means that they are comprised of pixels. And another thing I'd like you to notice is, if I go over here where I've downloaded these, you can see that the 48 pixel occupies 1 KB, while as the 512 pixel occupies 11 KB. As opposed to that, the SVG file only occupies 3 KB. So that's why you can see that logos are preferred for SVG, because you can resize them, you can remove them from the parent frame. If I select only the group, I can remove them from the parent frame. I could delete the frame, and if I want, I can resize it according to our need and add it over here like this. I'm going to remove these now. So you can see that SVG image was preferred for the logos. Now you must be wondering, how can we make our own vector? So you can use the pen tool right over here. Then let's try to make the Airbnb logo. And now I can go to this pen tool and I can hold and drag it. And if I go outside and double click, you can see that this is a vector. I can change stroke width over here to little more. I can change the color to a little red over here, or a little less, like this. let me change its width. And yes, so this is how you can make a logo using a pen tool. But you can see that it doesn't look very good. So what we can do is, Figma has a very nice option where I'll go over here and go back to file, and I'll click on the explore community option right over here. And if I go to explore community, here there are thousands of templates or plugins which you can use, which have been created by other designers. So what are plugins? Plugins are basically extensions added which provide more functions within the file. So basically how you use the clip art option in Word, where you can search for images in the file itself. So there are two very useful plugins. One is called Iconify. Another plugin which I want you to install is the Unsplash. Let me close this. And you don't always have to run a plugin. You can even use a pre-existing file which other designers have created and they have put out in the community for other themes. For example, if I search for Airbnb icons, and if I go to files plus templates and I go to free, you can see there is one file called the real estate icons, and I can open it and I can select the open in Figma option. And here I can find some icons which are used also in Airbnb, and I can copy and paste them. So let me go back and open my design file. And to run a plugin, you go to the main menu, you go to the plugins option right over here, and you can see that the plugins available are over here. So I'll select the Iconify plugin and I can search for Airbnb, and this one is nice one. So let's just import icon. There's this option that if you want to keep the plugin open or not. So I can import the icon and you can add it over here, and this is an SVG format. Similarly, I can search for, let's search for search, and these are the search icons. I can select any one of them. Let me select this, and before adding I can even change the color to, let's say I want it in white, and I can import the icon. I can change the color of this ellipse. Go to fill option, change the color. Let me use the eyedropper option this time. I can choose the eyedropper and I can go over here to the logo and select this color. Similarly, I have added the burger menu user option and the globe option from this plugin. I can even change the colors after adding it. For example, in this group, when I go and select this vector, and if I add a fill, this will be like this, and I can bring these to the front by dragging it over here like this, and I could change their stroke like this. So even if you don't find exactly which icon you want, you could add a similar icon and modify it according to your wish. Now let us add some images over here. So if I select this box and I go over here, resources, and select the plugins option and run unsplash, and go and select run. And if I just search for travel and let me select any random image, this is okay. And you can see this rectangle has been replaced by this. Similarly for the next one, let me add this. And similarly you can add for all of them. And what you can do is, now I want to replace these icons with the actual icons used over here like this. So we have this file over here which we opened from the community. So let us copy them. Copy. Let me go over here and delete this and I'll paste it like Control V. Similarly, you can do for all of them. We can also add text boxes below it to name them. Similarly, I can duplicate this and change this to barn. Another thing which is very useful in situations where we have added so many icons like this. If I hold on shift and select all these icons over here, and if I go to this auto layout option over here, so you can see that everything I can make the horizontal gap to be equal between each thing. You can change the padding also. I can change the vertical padding. I can make the alignment to center. And I can now change each value individually. I can see that everything is equally spaced. 44. Go and edit the text boxes. You can add the rest of them yourself. You can also add them to the auto layout. Our home page is almost ready. Right now we have added and spaced them manually just by our intuition. We saw how handy the auto layout option was, but the other thing which you could do is, if you could go out to this layout grid option and select this option, you can get a grid so that you can see the spacing between each of your elements. You can change the grid to grid size, or you could add, like you want columns, and let me make it to 4. As you can see, everything is quite neatly spaced within these rows. So you can use these layout grids also to help you align things better. If you don't want to view this, just click on this minus option. So you can see that this is almost done. Now the next thing I want to tell you about is components. What are components? Let us see. That if I select this ellipse over here and hold down shift and select this rectangle and click on this create component option, you can see that this has been created as a component. So now what I can do is, let me bring it over here. If I duplicate this and paste it here, and if I change the original components, you can see that the duplicate component also gets changed. Let's resize it and let me delete this one. And if I go and click on this component, this option over here which is add variant. Now I have another variant of this component and can make edits to this, like if I shift this ellipse over here and if I change this fill to black. Now if I select the second variant and if I go and double click on this property one, I can rename it as is selected and I can change variant 2 to true. Similarly, I'll go to this and change this default to false. Now this component 8 which has been added, if I go to this assets page and click on this local component, and if I hold and drag this over here, I've added this component here and I can see this option. It is selected property. Here right now it is false and if I click on this it will become true. So this is another handy option. If you could replace all these things, you could select all these things and make them a component and just add them over here. I'm going to leave the search page for you as an exercise. Let me show how it will look finally. The search page looks something like this finally. Over here I've added a rectangle, filled its color with black and changed the opacity. Over here you can see change its opacity to 30%. Similarly, this is also a component which has these variants and the search menu also has these variants. So the final result will look something like this. Now congratulations, you can now make wireframes. In the next session, we'll make an interactive prototype something like this. So stay tuned for the next session. And if you found this session useful, please like and share this video. Comment below to let us hear your thoughts. Please subscribe the channels to get updates on our upcoming videos. Till then, keep exploring and keep designing.